Welcome on inside yet another edition of the Business of Social podcast powered by STN Digital. I'm your host, David Brickley. Each and every show, we talk to the experts to get the ever-changing digital marketing, social landscape. This show is no different. Episode number 84. Super excited about this episode, but producer Will, we dive into 84. I already have my answer, but I'm just going to let you do your thing just in case I get distracted here.
Yeah, I think there's obviously a clear-cut answer here. The GOAT, in my opinion, his position, but others of note, Chris Webber, Shannon Sharp.
Chris Webber was 84?
Yeah.
No, Chris Webber was 4. Where was he 84?
Maybe in high school or something. According to both of these lists, he was 84 NBA. Bleacher Report and USA Today.
Maybe his last year and all right. Anyways,
I don't know. Rodman was 97, so you never know. And Herman Moore. But I think, as you alluded to, there's a clear-cut answer here.
All right, is the Randy Moss podcast, which I think is fitting because we bring on Dave Feldman, a Hall of Famer now as a second-time guest on the Business Social podcast. Before, he was a VP of Social at the NFL, and then he moved over to NFT land, Senior Vice President of Sports Marketing at Dapper Labs. If you know anything about NFTs, or you've been even following in a very small way, you've heard of Dapper Labs. They have the exclusive rights of NBA moments, NFL moments, and UFC moments. I know I just saw an article today that they just won the rights to Premier League video as well. So to put that a different way, these individual highlights, and with all these leagues, Dapper Labs is the exclusive partner. So if you want a LeBron James dunk, if you want a historic moment, if those things are on, if they've minted those highlights, they're available. But Will, we've been trying to find somebody in the NFT space. I've been looking for Dave and working on his schedule. I wanted him to be the first guy to really speak NFT on this podcast. So many people are so interested in this space, and so many people are skeptics as well. So I'm excited to, as we always do, give knowledge to the listeners.
Also, just so we're historically correct, Chris Webber was 84 on the Detroit Pistons. Who could forget his Pistons?
There you go. I figured it was a last stint type of thing.
No, I think you're exactly right, and I think Feldman will do such a good job of getting, because NFTs, I feel like if you ask someone, I don't really know what it is. It's something you buy. It's like a digital thing. You can just watch it. So I think to have someone actually break it down knowledgeably is a huge. And
I've personally done my hundreds of hours of research on this topic just to kind of see where it's going. This isn't going anywhere. And what fascinates me the most is the blockchain technology. And sure, there's a lot of NFT projects that are BS that are going to fail, but in the long term, in the macro sense, it's just not going anywhere. And this very, very much reminds me of the early days of social, 2009, 2010, where fans and bloggers and those guys and gals, they got it. They understood how to talk to an audience, and the Fortune 500, the sports teams did not. It's no different. It sounds the same. And I will give Gary Vee credit. I like what he said recently on a podcast. He said, we're becoming our mom and dad. It's like, what? NFT? Can I just save that on my desktop? I don't understand. That's how our mom and dad felt about Twitter, social media. We remember those days. So don't become your mom and dad is the goal of this podcast. But here we go. Episode 84, the Senior Vice President of Sports Marketing at Dapper Labs, David Feldman. All right, as promised, we bring on the Senior Vice President of Sports Marketing at Dapper Labs. Dave Feldman joins us. You're going to our Hall of Fame, Dave. You're now a 2-time episode guest. This is big news, man, so appreciate you coming on again.
Yeah, I always wanted to be in the Hall of Fame growing up. I can't think of a better one to be in than this one. But
it may be your biggest accomplishment of your career. I know it's right up there with everything else.
I was thinking maybe Cooperstown or Springfield, but this will definitely do.
All right, man, let's warm you up with kind of a random question I've been asking a lot of our podcast guest hosts, or guests, excuse me. If you were a late night talk show host, who is your first guest and why?
Oh, wow. I think maybe Letterman himself. I was always like a Team Letterman growing up. I used to watch it all the time, and I just thought he's just so smart and funny, and to actually then spin the table on him, I think would be pretty interesting.
And talk show hosts end up being good talk show guests because they know how to act as a guest or what their favorite guests were like. Exactly. So I like it. I'm so excited to talk about you. We had an amazing discussion, about a year and a half ago now, I think, when you were the VP over at the NFL on the social side. I've never really asked you this point blank, so I'd love for you to break it down for me. Actually, let's start here. Talk me through SVP of Sports Marketing at Dapper Labs, what you do, what you oversee, your day-to-day.
Yeah, so I've been at Dapper for a little over a year now. I've worn a few different hats in my time here, but most of my focus is really on our relationships with our athletes. We really kind of view, especially in the Web3 world that our product can, NBA Top Shot, NFL All Day, UFC Strike, our the Liga product that'll be coming out. The ability for athletes to interact and engage with their fans is unparalleled in our product, where because of the power of the Flow blockchain or the blockchain in general, like for the first time ever, athletes will be able to know and see who their biggest fans are and who their fans are. So that if LeBron James or Patrick Mahomes or whoever it might be want to see hey, who are my biggest Top Shot collector fans? We can give them, we can point exactly to those people and tell them exactly who they are. And he can engage with them as much as, or as little as he would like. And you can't really do that with any other collectible, with trading cards, with jerseys, with sneakers or whatever. The relationships that we have with athletes is really, really important. And we're still so early in that process, but we've had some meaningful campaigns already. We did something really cool on Top Shot with Kevin Durant earlier this year. We just launched last week our Klay Thompson game recognized game pack, where Klay himself curated a pack drop to select players who have come back from injury in a meaningful way, just like how he has. And we also partner with his 941 Foundation, just in the 941 days he missed in between games. And it's just really cool that not only can they interact with their fans, but also that they can tell stories in a way that they've never been able to tell before. So athlete marketing is a really big focus of mine. Our events are a really big focus of mine. We've done some really great experiences at stadiums where we rewarded the biggest Phoenix Suns collectors with the opportunity to go to the NBA Finals, or the biggest rookie collectors last year on NBA Top Shot were able to go to the NBA Draft and really kind of create those type of experiences. And there's a lot more to come that I'm really excited about there, as well as just brand marketing. So that's how we position ourselves as Dapper Sports, like all the different properties that we have. And so those are really my three key focuses. As well, I've been spending a lot of time on the NFL All Day side of things, as well as, we've only launched that for a few months now. And so much opportunity there. And obviously, given my background, the NFL seems like a pretty obvious fit.
Yeah, you get that space pretty well. That was going to be my first question is, you had 10 years, right? Or about that at the NFL?
7 years, yeah.
7 years. You had a great team. You had a great job there. You did great things in the NFL. Something really has to entice, I think, a VP of social at the NFL to want to move and jump like you did. So what was so enticing, so exciting for you to be like, you know what, NFL, I've done great things here, but I want to go to a brand new space, NFT, I'm going all in, my career, let's do this thing. What was it for you that pulled you in?
Yeah, I had an amazing run at the NFL. I only have positive things to say about my time at the NFL and the wonderful people at the NFL. But to me personally, I was ready for something new. I think I was just, everyone wants different challenges in their career. But also, honestly, I fell in love with NBA Top Shot last January, as a lot of people did. And it's
as a consumer, as a fan, first and foremost.
Yeah, for sure. And, for some people, and we're learning every single day, user behavior and the knowledge of the fans that we're trying to attract to our platform. It's not easy for a lot of people to understand what an NFT is, what are digital collectibles and so forth. But for me, it just made sense immediately. And I was just this is the future. I want to be a part of this. And so luckily, a former colleague of mine at the NFL, Katie Tedman, was working at Dapper Labs. And I reached out to her. I was like, hey, this is amazing. Congrats on all the success. Because the Top Shot just blew up last year.
And you were admiring from afar. This is dope, man. Yeah.
And she's like, hey, if you ever want to have a conversation, about the chat. And so, next thing I know, I was like, look, I'm ready to do this. I fully believe in Dapper Labs. I fully believe in NFTs. I fully believe in the power of the blockchain. And I've been into crypto space for some time myself, but this just seemed like the perfect combination of sports, which I love, of trading cards, which I collected growing up. And just sports, blockchain, this was me. I was made for me. And so I was I can't think of anything more I'd rather be a part of. And then also, to be honest, the job itself aside, which obviously was a huge component, but there was something really thrilling of just being part of a startup environment and kind of wanting to build and being a part of that process. And where that your success and failures will impact the business successes and failures and vice versa. And that's a really powerful relationship to have with your employer that I never had at the NFL. I'm super proud of the work I did at the NFL or at the MLB beforehand, but it's a very different dynamic when you are when you are like the monolith that is the NFL versus like when you're trying to build. Like it's just it's a unique position to be in, and it's something I'm really enjoying.
So I know you've heard it, and I know, especially at family reunions around the dinner table with friends, like, what the hell do you do, David? What's an NFT again? I don't believe it. This is crazy. Web 3.0. So I know you've probably distilled a really good elevator pitch of what an NFT is. So for the people out there that have no idea what you do, how do you break it down?
Yeah, I mean, so like what our company does, what Dapper Labs does, is we create NFTs for sports collectibles. So for basketball, we have NBA Top Shot. For football, we have NFL All Day. For UFC, we have UFC Strike, and we have a La Liga product coming out. And what you can buy are incredibly scarce, what we call moments. And what these moments are, video highlights that are each assigned a numeric number that makes it so that they're completely non-fungible. Meaning is that if there's 100 versions of this LeBron James dunk that he has on our platform, we know exactly like who owns what. So you might own number 34, I might own number 72, and our friend might own number 3. But like you're assigned an actual numeric, or it's actually tokenized to have for true ownership. And so that means that number is undeniably yours, and that you have the ability to keep it, to buy it, to sell it, whatever you want. And that is like, and so you're able to walk around with digital ownership and unquestioned ownership just right in your pocket. So you can show your entire collection to your friends at the dinner table, and you can show all the hundreds or thousands of moments that you own, and you can sell it, you can buy it, you can do so many things. You're a creator. You are like someone who can do whatever they want with that. And so the way I view it is that this is modern day collecting. Like that, why the idea that you need to like own something tangible and be able to show it to somebody and hope that it stays in perfect condition, or we want to put it on eBay, like that just seems very antiquated when everyone lives on their phones already. Very few people are able to like see and experience some of your collectibles that you have at your house. Like you're really limited to people who actually you invite through that door, which is like pretty small. Whereas when you're out in the open and you have your phone with you, you can show it to hundreds of people whenever you want. And so to me, it's the power of true ownership and the ability to really kind of showcase your fandom in a way that you haven't been able to before, and also play like the scarcity game of like wanting to rip open a pack and see, am I going to get an incredibly ultra rare legendary moment that might be valued in the thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, or a common, which is also a really incredible moment that happened on the hard court or on the football field, but that just might be minted a little bit more, so its value, at least on the marketplace, might be a little bit less.
Yeah, I'm going to throw a lot of rookie questions at you because I do think a lot of listeners are not as educated and in the world as much as you or even me. I want to talk. I mean, the way I look at it too is like you and I grew up around the same age, like Pogs, basketball, baseball cards, Beanie Babies, Pokemon cards. Like people understand, I think, the collectible nature of that. But for whatever reason, you hear a lot of, I don't know, naysayers say, why can't I just right-click save the GIF on my desktop? Why can't I just right-click the video on my iPhone and make it a favorite and show my friends, look, I have a video of LeBron dunking? What do you say to those people?
I say go for it. You, by all means, right-click, save it, save whatever you want, but then try to sell it and see how successful you are in actually selling that when it's not authenticated, when it doesn't show true ownership, and so forth. And like I say that kind of in jest, but it's true because you can have a photo of the Mona Lisa hanging from your wall, but like that's not the Mona Lisa, and people know that's not the Mona Lisa. And so I think like authenticated true ownership is incredibly valuable, and I think that's also going to be a huge unlock as the years are to come.
Well, what I love about it the most, I wanted you to dig into this for me more, because I know you can educate me on it as well, is the blockchain technology, right? Like that certificate authenticity really on the digital blockchain that nobody can own, nobody can disrupt, all those different things. So I know that it had to be a big reason that pulled you into this space, is just the possibilities of that in a macro sense over the next, 100 years.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. Like it's immutable, it's undeniable. We have our own, Dapper Labs created its own blockchain several years ago called Flow, which is now its own autonomous blockchain on its own. It allows us to do tens of thousands of transactions a day, which is incredibly powerful without any gas fees. So the user who buys it doesn't feel a tax like when they purchase it, which they do on a lot of other blockchains, including Ethereum. And so, the power of the blockchain is incredible.
So I know there's so many out there, from Bored Ape to all these different NFT platforms. But, what I liked about your guys' platform is you can actually purchase just using your credit card via a checkout system. So many of your competitors and so many NFT projects out there, you have to use Ethereum or Bitcoin or MetaMask in order to, go into that area. What makes you guys different in that regard? And what have you seen different competitors do in that sense?
Yeah. So, I mean, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about Flow, where, back in 2017, we launched a very successful, probably the first real successful NFT project called CryptoKitties. And that was on the Ethereum blockchain. And it was the first NFT project that kind of went mainstream, where, there were thousands of users, to the extent that it actually took down the Ethereum block. The Ethereum blockchain could not handle that level of transactions. And so what ended up happening was it became clear to our CEO, Roham, that if we want to bring crypto and the blockchain to the masses, to billions of people, to have a Dapper wallet in every pocket for billions of people, this was not the path. We actually kind of had to build our own blockchain to do that, and not just build our own blockchain to do it, but also to build our own wallet to do it. And so we created what we call the Dapper wallet. And that's the experience that you're talking about, where when you go to NBATopShot.com and you want to go buy your Giannis or LeBron or Jokic moment, you just take out your credit card. It's all in USD. If you want it to be in USD, you see, okay, that costs $12. I get out my credit card, and it really feels like a pretty native Shopify experience to check out. And that's very different than if you're to be purchasing, if you had the money to afford a Bored Ape or anything else that's on the Ethereum blockchain or Solana blockchain, or whatever it might be. There's so much more friction. Whereas you were describing, you first have to have Ethereum, or you have to have whatever cryptocurrency it might need. So you have to buy Ethereum, you have to have a Coinbase account. Okay, cool. Or Coinbase or whatever, FTX, whatever.
A lot of steps.
Yeah. And so then I have to send it to, I have to create a MetaMask account. Okay. Then I have to take my money from my Coinbase account and then send it to my MetaMask account. First off, I don't know if you've ever sent money from one wallet to another on Ethereum. It's scary. Because once you send that, first, it's 32 different letters and numbers all tied together.
And what do they call the gas fees too, right? To get it
right.
Over
So that's part of it also. But once you send it from your one wallet to the next wallet, it's gone. So if you mess that up at all, if that L was actually an I or whatever it might be, you just lost all your money. But then you have to connect your MetaMask wallet to whatever site that you're buying this from. Maybe it's from OpenSea, maybe it's from the actual site that you're minting it from, and then you have to connect it, and then you have to buy it again. It's and then once you buy it there, you have to pay gas fees. And so people don't know, gas fees are a tax that you're paying the nodes that power the Ethereum blockchain for their service to allow you to buy that NFT.
Yeah.
And so there are several layers that you need to go through. You have to be a pretty nuanced buyer in order or user in order to buy an Ethereum-based NFT, whereas on Dapper, on NBA Top Shot or NFL All Day, as I was saying earlier, it's super easy. You put in the name of the player you want, you find the moment that you want to buy, you put in your credit card, or it's already saved to your platform to our website if you've already made a purchase before, and it's yours. And there's no gas fees, and it's just could not be more frictionless.
What percentage of NFT projects would you say are Ethereum based? I mean, are you guys one of the only rare ones that have the USD credit card option?
As far as the number of transactions go, we're actually, Flow blockchain is right up there with Ethereum. We might have even surpassed it, which is crazy because there's hundreds of more, if not thousands of more actual NFT projects on Ethereum. Right. But that really kind of underscores what I was saying earlier as far as why we made this blockchain to begin with. We knew that there's only certain capabilities that Ethereum has to have that type of tonnage, whereas the Flow blockchain was made for this type of massive option.
All right, so I think we just made people's heads spin with the MetaMask, Ethereum, gas fees topic. What would be something that you would recommend? If somebody's looking to educate themselves on NFT, how did you go about it? And then B, how do you get started with maybe that first purchase to kind of get your feet wet in this new space?
Yeah, no, I can tell you my story, which was I've been active in the fantasy football industry for some time. I've always been a fan, and I follow a guy named Jonathan Bales, who's been he's one of the godfathers of fantasy football to begin with. And he wrote a blog post one day about how he spent $35,000 on a Ja Morant moment that he could have watched on YouTube. And in that moment, so if you just search Jonathan Bales, Ja Morant, I'm sure it'll be the first thing that comes out. But in there, he kind of describes how he fell down the rabbit hole and became like convicted on the power of NBA Top Shot and like the beauty of NBA Top Shot. But yeah, like what I would do is I would read that article. I would watch some YouTube videos, like some 101 of like, what is NBA Top Shot? What is an NFT? Stuff like that. There's so much content out there at this point, from Gary Vee to like Alexis Ohanian to whoever whatever thought leader you want to read into. And I would just get knowledgeable, because like this is a different world. It can be scary depending on, what platform you might be using. And it also, like for people who are new to it, it can seem intimidating. Like I don't fully understand. What does this mean? I thought blockchain scary or cryptocurrency scary. Like this is all different. But I think once you start seeing like the biggest companies in the world, like the NBA, the NFL, like they're a part of this. Like I think that's got to, like, that lends a lot of credibility to us and like what we're doing here. That makes it a much safer environment than pretty much anyone else, like any other one out there. And so yeah, go to NBATopShot.com. If you're a Raptors fan, type in Fred VanVleet or Scotty Barnes or whoever your favorite player is. Watch and like look at the beauty of our moment to see like the absolute best highlights in the NBA are on this platform, or the absolute best highlights of the NFL are on this platform, and make a decision of like, kind of how you want to dip your toes in the water. Because once you kind of buy one, or especially once you buy a pack, if you're able to buy a pack and you kind of open up that first pack opening experience, we call it like that aha moment where, we have some awesome like music playing. It's really suspenseful. Like, are you going to like unearth like a really valuable, in a $9 pack, you can get $1,000 moments. Like the opportunity is pretty massive. And so I think once you can go through that experience, you're kind of hooked, and it becomes very addictive.
Yeah, I'll give Gary Vee credit for a couple gems he dropped, I think on the Full Send podcast. But two things he said. One is, do you find it valuable to be verified on Instagram or Twitter? And people automatically, I think that clicks for people because, yes, it's digital. You can't hold the verification, but that little blue check mark means so much to people. And then two, I think he said that the confusion a lot of people have, even in our age range, we're becoming our mom and dad. We didn't understand Twitter or social media or YouTube or whatever it may be. And you can either say like, I don't get it, that's stupid, that's not how I grew up, or you can accept, Web 3.0 versus 2.0. So I think those people that I continuously hear like, that's dumb, like I could just save it on my desktop, like they're becoming a lot what our mom and dad used to say when it came to
and look, I think you and I also have a pretty unique perspective where like we were so early in the social game.
My God,
I started helping oversee the Major League Baseball social team in like 2010.
Yes.
Which is like,
we were the ugly stepchildren in the room for sure.
Right. And like everyone, like, I'm at the dinner table, people are like, what do you mean your job is tweeting? Or what do you mean this? So like, what is Facebook? Or like, and so like, I find like a pretty startling commonality there between like the perception of social media when I started off to how people are kind of viewing the NFT crypto space as a whole right now.
Talk me through the difference from, so I think people understand the concept of opening up a pack, because back in the day, you'd open up an Upper Deck pack, holy shit, I have a Michael Jordan rookie card, right? So that's the same type of thing with video moments and highlights throughout, NBA history. What's the difference from the pack, the likelihood of you getting one of those top moments, and then the open marketplace? Because I know I purchased like a LeBron dunk on the open marketplace, one of 10,000. I bought it for $100, but I also could have got that dunk free on a $9 pack, right?
Yeah. So I mean, look, we have different pack drops almost weekly on NBA Top Shot, and then a little like during the NFL season, we had one every week on the NFL All Day platform, and so. Look, like in an NFL All Day pack, so we had like a Super Bowl pack. So, the best moments from the Super Bowl. So look, in that pack, you might pull a, forgive me, because I don't like you might pull a Joe Burrow moment. You might pull Odell Beckham moment, or you might pull, like maybe a lesser known player from one of those teams. And like that, like the quality of the player, the scarcity of the moment was it minted to 10,000 or was it minted to 250? That's a really big difference, at least as far as like what the market perceives the value of those moments to be. And so, you never know what you can pull from a pack, which is part of the beauty of it. Because like we have, even over the weekend, we had someone pull a Josh Allen #1, like so the serialized #1. I think it was a 56 total mints that he sold on the marketplace the next day for $32,000. And I think he bought that pack for $50. Wow. So. That's a pretty nice profit that he made. And so that's really kind of part of like the beauty of our platform, that like that you can not only can you immediately pull something incredible, if you want to go and sell it, you're clicks away from making $1,000.
And the logistics of it, if you guys mint 100 Josh Allens or 15,000 LeBrons, how many of those, is it like a percentage basis what you choose to put randomly in those wildcard packs?
Yeah,
and the rest
so
are just...
there's man, I wish I had like the information directly in front of me, but like we make sure we have different tiers of moments. So we have common moments, which are like our base set. Like that's the one that, there might be 10,000 of them.
That could be a layup in the third quarter essentially, or
no, I mean, there'll still be a really cool video moment, but it just, it might be the player's third best play versus first best play.
Got it.
And so we have our commons, then we have our rare, which is like very, very limited, but not as limited as our legendaries. And the legendaries that we mint from up to 99 moments of those. And the rares, they might be up to 799 or so within rare. That's typically what we mint to. And so then because look, there's only just because of that math itself, there's only going to be so many of each tier within a pack. And so you are more likely to pull, it also there's sometimes our pack drops that we have are just rares or just legendary pack drops. But in what we call a blended pack, a mixed pack that might, it's a bit of a grab bag. You don't know what you're going to get. There's a much higher likelihood you're going to get a common moment. But in the off chance you do get a rare legendary moment, your return on that investment is a lot different.
I feel like if you're just trying to dip your toe into NBA Top Shot, just buy a few packs and kind of, you never know, man. Especially that first couple packs, you might hit gold there. 100%. What do you guys? I mean, I guess we're still so early in this space. What excites you the most about where we're going, and maybe things that are possible with blockchain and NFT as we get more education, but haven't even scratched the surface yet? Anything like that really geeks you out?
Yeah, I mean, I think going back to what we were saying about the power of the athlete and how the relationships that he or she can have with their fans, we've barely scratched the surface as far as the different tools that we can build or partner with a third party to give the athlete the ability to communicate and reward their biggest collectors in a meaningful way. So I think that's a brand new space that really hasn't been developed at all. That's really exciting. Yeah, I mean, I think there's so much opportunity there. There's so much, as COVID slowly becomes, a bit more of an accepted part of our living day-to-day experience, IRL events, bringing our community together, bringing them to games, bringing them to watch parties, bringing them to events, whatever it might be. I think that's going to be a really special thing that's going to become a lot more common. We actually just announced last week in a blog post for NBA Top Shot that we're genuinely sending 10 collectors to every single NBA playoff game. So this year. So, we have a way, we have a leaderboard for every. Yeah, exactly. So we know if you own a Chicago Bulls team set, we are able to see who the biggest fans are of the Bulls. And then every single day you'll have a chance, depending on how many Bulls games there are, to go, if you have the complete Bulls set, to go to a Bulls game, which is pretty awesome.
That's awesome. Especially if you can see Alex Caruso in action. My God.
Exactly, right?
From a highlight standpoint, how do you guys work with the leagues in order to mint new highlights, right? So, can I go on there right now and get Robert Horry's game winner versus the Kings in 2002? I'm guessing there's limitations. There's not every single LeBron dunk of his whole career. Right. With the NBA, NFL, UFC, how do you work that out when you're going to drop new things?
Yeah. So we have been around at the NBA for, I think, 3 seasons. So, we have the best highlights of each of the last 3 years, including this year. WNBA this past year as well.
That's awesome.
And then we view ourselves as a 100-year product. And so we want to be really selective as far as how frequently we go into the archive and when we decide to bring certain historical moments to the platform and when not. And so we don't have Robert Horry in history on our platform yet, I would say. But we did just launch during the All-Star game weekend this past year, Vince Carter's dunk contest, moments, stuff like that. So we're being very strategic and thoughtful as far as when to leverage some of the biggest historical moments on the NBA side. And on the NFL side, actually for the first time ever, we're having our pack drop very soon on NFL All Day, where we've announced some really incredible legends that are going to be part of that first pack drop, including Brett Favre, Randall Cunningham, Ricky Williams, Sean Alexander, Dante Culpepper, just some really historical 90s Terrell Davis, like kind of like Reggie White, like some really awesome players from my childhood. That will be our first foray into a few different pack drops, historical pack drops we're gonna have this summer.
You being like a sports geek like myself, I know the moments like Garnett, anything is possible, or Iverson practice, Jim Mora playoffs. Like, how does that work? Like, does the league own some of those things? Is that more the TV rights holder, like the ESPNs of the world? Like, how do you do you own anything outside the whistles? Is that possible as we go forward?
So we do, like, I'd say everything's a partnership. So I think there are some partnerships we have with certain leagues that will allow for that type of content. I could see some of that type of stuff coming down the line. But I will say, like, our plate is pretty full with the highlights themselves. So that's going to be our focus, at least for the time being.
Whenever you guys roll up the Iverson playoffs clip, I'm gonna. First purchase.
Sorry about my dog in the background.
Oh, you're good, man. It's all good. So where do you see from an athlete standpoint? I'm really, you and I talked about this the last time we talked, and as we talk over the years. So athletes are untapped potential in so many ways, monetizing their social media when it comes to obviously how they could just make money off the field. Where do you think the opportunities stand for some of the large guys, the Bradys, the LeBrons, in terms of their own NFT? Does that cause issues because they don't own their own highlights? That's on the league level, but can they cut a deal with Getty and own some of their top like photo highlights? Like, where do you think the athlete, if you're managing LeBron right now, like, and he wants to open up an NFT shop, where's the opportunity?
So I would say the best opportunities on the Flow blockchain. And look, we have, if you're an athlete and you want to be able to, who do you want to engage with? You want to engage with your fans. So you want your fans to be able the ones to own whatever NFT collectible that you decide to create, whatever project you decide to create. What better opportunity do you have than if you don't want to just lean into NBA Top Shot on your own, like, cool, totally understand.
Yeah.
But like, what a better opportunity do you have to at least build on a blockchain that has NBA Top Shot as part of their blockchain, so that if you ever wanted to connect your following to the Top Shot following, which is in the hundreds of thousands, you're there. Like, we can easily do something like that for you. So we can tell LeBron who you should be, whatever player, who your target demo is, who you should be talking with, how to coordinate your launch with whatever's happening at Top Shot to really maximize your audience and appeal there. So I think there's so much opportunity for athletes to be doing stuff like that, and that for whatever sport they might be, to use NFL All Day or NBA Top Shot as a gateway into that athlete's project, or vice versa. That will be a really positive experience for that athlete. And then additionally, on UFC as well as on NFL, on our two products there, like, the athletes actually get a cut of the individual, like the specific deals that they have. The specific moments that get sold on the platform.
Like NFL PA is a part of that, like, kickback.
Oh, the PA is part of it. NBA PA is part of it also. Okay. But what's unique about like something like UFC Strike is that, if you own the a Khamzat Chimaev UFC Strike NFT, he gets the same cut from that moment as the UFC does.
That's
so
great.
So the players really get a 50-50 split with
so it makes sense for them to promote those moments because they get a kickback. Yeah,
100%.
So the licensing, though, I'm sure is the issue, right? Because again, if I'm LeBron, I don't have rights to my highlights in my career. I don't have rights to the amazing Andrew Bernstein Getty images. So if I were to go on my own and not have to deal with any rights issues or NBA logo issues, I would have to create my own art from scratch, essentially, of my image and likeness, but I couldn't use NBA marks. Like, where does that fall?
I mean, I want to say I'm not a lawyer, but actually I'm a lawyer. Like, I
won't hold you to it, but based on what you know,
I think that's accurate. I don't I think they would have to create their own deals to get NBA logos and marks along those lines, and then they definitely could not do their highlights as we have exclusive on highlights. Yeah.
So what's next for Dapper? I mean, are you guys just going to take over the world and own all rights to major sports leagues? I know you guys are definitely the big men on campus when it comes to just owning these exclusive highlights, and we're really first to market. What's next for you guys?
Look, what's next for us is really kind of just further investing into our products and to our communities. Like, we know that community is a lifeblood to our products. We are nothing without our communities. And so there's no shortage of product features and tweaks that we need to make across all of our products to kind of just fulfill some of the expectations, and also just like our own desires. So like further, like we are a startup. Like, we want to make these as polished and as positive experiences for all of our collectors. And so we're really doubling and tripling down on that, on rewarding our community through incredible experiences. Like I was saying in the playoffs, we have a full NFL season coming up in 5 months or so that we couldn't be more excited about, where hopefully we'll be launching into open beta and to kind of just really kind of ready to reach the maxes in that regard. And so there's no shortage of opportunity at hand here and work for us to be doing. How
quickly, again, I'm kind of geeking out over the logistics here, but how quickly, if there's a game winner by Ja Morant tonight, is that on immediately? Do you have to mint that? Does that come out a month later? Like usually what's the turnaround time on that?
So it depends. Okay. There's some times where there's like a really good reason why we wouldn't want to mint it for some time, where it might be a month or 2 months or 3 months, because, you know, that moment we might, like that Ja Morant block he had earlier this year was like so incredible. We want to make sure that was in our legendary pack drop, and that legendary pack drop might not be for another month or two. And so like, okay, cool. Like we want to make sure that we don't, you know, we hold it back for that. But for our NFL product, we were minting like, you know, we minted week 14 highlights, and that was ready before week 15 started. So like, you know, the turnaround is like pretty.
Because I see the future too. Like you literally have QR codes either on SportsCenter or on NFL.com highlights on YouTube or on the telecast. Like, you know, you can own this moment immediately and or hold your place in line when it drops, you know, tomorrow morning.
Oh, for sure. So we activated NBA Summer League this past year, where for fans who were in attendance, if they were at the game, they came to our booth, they could sign up and buy the moment for $9 that they just saw, and the next day it was airdropped into their account.
That's awesome. Where do you think, so from an NFT standpoint, what's the biggest obstacle that not only Dapper has, but any project out there? I mean, I'm assuming education to the broader audience has got to be one of the main ones, but what have you guys just kind of looked at as a challenge as you move forward?
Yeah, like I think it is education. I think it's just like our value proposition as a whole, familiarity with the space. But yeah, I think it's really kind of just breaking through that like cultural zeitgeist of like, hey, like this is a movement, and either you're going to get on the train or you're going to miss it. And like, it's a pretty great train to be on, because there's like very few platforms like us. Like we are first movers in this space, and it's a lot of fun, and it can be also like a really great, great experience as a whole.
All right, here's my selfish question. Let's say you got $2,000, right? And you want to start in the NFT space. Based on, you know, put your consultant hat on for me for a second. What do you do? Like, do you buy a couple of your favorite moments? Do you buy a couple packs? Do you kind of go on different NFT projects? Like, I think the misconception is people want to hit gold or that get rich quick scheme. But if you know where you know you're early, you know you want to be in now so you can reap the benefits 10 years from now potentially, where do you go?
I mean, like I would tell you to go buy what you love. You know, if you're a Lakers fan, go buy some Lakers moments. That, you know, like go buy. I
don't love this current version of Lakers, but maybe
sure. But, you know, you can buy moments from the bubble from when they won the title, and like I'm sure that has get a Caruso moment from the bubble. Yeah. Or, you know, like go get some of your favorite college players that you know that might have gone to your school or team that you root for. But I would just urge you kind of forget about the dollars for a moment and kind of just use that money as like a way to give you an education and like to familiarize yourself with our products, with this space, and to kind of like, give you some comfort and to some confidence, so that when like more opportunities arise or when bigger pack drops arise, that you're ready to go and you know what to do. Because it can be a little complex at times. And so the best way there's no better way to learn than actual do. And so I would recommend that.
What is it like? Is there subscription type options too, where every time a pack comes out, you can like pre-buy them and they like email you that it's ready to open, or where have you guys seen the revenue generation on those types?
We've done something similar to that in the past. We don't do that right now. Definitely something we consider as a whole, but like for us, we really view pack drops as like social experiences. Like we're like, I mean, I can tell you myself,
like dropping a new colorway. You just don't get it delivered to your door. You got to.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you know, I know at 10 a.m. on a Friday, like the new pair of off-whites or Jordans or whatever they're coming out, like I got to be on the sneaker app. So like we kind of do the same thing where it's like, oh wow, like we have a legendary pack drop moment coming out this week on Top Shot or whatever it might be. Like I got to be at my computer on my phone at this time. I want to be in the queue, see what my queue spot is, watch the live stream to accompany it, and like hopefully I can pull a pack, because like that package changed my life.
Speaking of colorways, obviously that industry is inundated with bots that don't allow you and I to actually buy the shoe on the drop for the retail price. What's that look like in the NFT space right now? Is that an issue that you have to combat?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely an issue. It's something that our compliance team and our like safety team takes very, very seriously. And so we have certain modes and mechanisms to be able to detect bot usage. And we're pretty unforgiving when that type of behavior starts. Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense for someone to buy 75 of the same moment. So you probably can sell pretty quickly.
Yeah. Or like, look, there's sometimes that there's certain deals on the marketplace that just arise and that people would create bots like, oh, if this ever hits under $5 or $10 or $50, like, immediately buys it. And so like we've created software that can really detect that very quickly. But it is something that we take very seriously.
All right, let's get into some rapid fire. So outside of Top Shot, even going back to before you started at Dapper Labs, what were the other NFT projects that really excited you or interested you?
Yeah, so I was pretty fortunate in that I got early into the CryptoPunk space. And so for people that know CryptoPunks, it's like one of the first NFT projects that's all like more or less like 8-bit pixelated photos of, or like digital, like cartoonish photos of men, women, aliens, apes. There's a few others that are in there, zombies. And there's something really cool about the art there that I really liked. And I just, in the fact that it's like the first or one of the first NFT projects ever made me feel like it was just like had like a really compelling narrative that it was like, this is the one that's going to last a really, really long time. And it has. And so that was like a really, enjoyable process to go through to buying my first.
I'm sure you're still reaping the benefits of that early purchase.
It did well. It did well for,
That's funny though. I wonder like if you have to worry about retention because all your employees and teammates are so smart in this space. They might hit gold and they're out, man.
Oh, I am by far like the least qualified and the least of my coworkers. Like there are people who
they're killing it.
Are total experts in this space, 100%.
What brands, creators, accounts that you recommend folks follow, or maybe you just enjoy following in an NFT space that puts out some content?
There's a podcast I listen to a lot that does a lot of Top Shot stuff, but they also dabble into non-Top Shot or Dapper stuff called Club Top Shot. And so it's like Peter Overzet, Andy, Jack Sullivan.
And that was just made out of just fandom, not necessarily tied to Top Shot.
Yeah, for sure.
That's great.
And today they record every Tuesday night. Peter Jennings is on there every Tuesday night, Mike Levy. And they just like have like an hour or two where they kind of just riff on the latest projects, Top Shot happenings and so forth. But they're really smart. They have a lot of interesting perspectives and highly recommend that one.
What do you, if again, you're a consultant, a brand brings you in, Fortune 500 brand, whether it's someone that has good equity, right? Like brand equity in terms of fashion or whatever it may be. What are you telling them right now about this space and how they should capitalize like now?
I would say to be really thoughtful to, like if this is something that you should be doing to up-leveling your relationship with your consumers or your fans or however you define that user base, and to not rush and to do something that's going to like make their affinity towards you to strengthen that versus something that like will feel like transactional. And so what is it that this brand can do to heighten their relationship with their consumer versus it seeming like some sort of like cash grab or just, a quick buck? Well,
this is no different than what you and I have talked about for years is on social media, people just jump on pop culture trends that have nothing to do with their brand just for the easy engagement play. And that's like so disingenuous. The fan base knows what you're doing. And the same thing goes with NFT. I think a lot of projects have been launched like, ooh, this is, we can make some quick money on this. Let's get it out the door. And it's just kind of embarrassing as it falls flat with your audience.
100%. And then and I'd say as savvy as like a social media consumer is, like, I would say an NFT consumer is even savvier than that.
Any advice for folks that are looking to make that switch or want to get into the industry, maybe from a traditional brand or sports and want to get more into NFT
Yeah,
space?
I mean, look, there's so many projects out there. There's so many builders out there that like get on Twitter, get on LinkedIn. Those are probably the two best, social platforms where you can see some of the conversation happening here. And like, go send a DM, like go whatever, like go see how you can offer value, share ideas, share perspectives, share whatever skills you might have. And I think like this is a burgeoning area where there's tons of job opportunities across the spectrum. So I would just urge you to like to not just show your interest, but to like show your knowledge. Because to me, even as like I'm hiring and interviewing people, like this is obviously like a very sexy space to be in right now. But you can kind of talk to someone for just a couple minutes when they start saying like when they speak in generalities, and it becomes pretty clear that they don't fully know what they're talking about. And like, there's nothing more off-putting than like someone who claims that they like, they're so bullish on the space, they're so passionate about it. But when you like
start asking, bought an NFT before? Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's like one of the first questions I ask. And like, when the answer is no, it's just like, well, how passionate about this actually can you be?
What's different about marketing? I mean, the NFL is different because you're marketing like viewership maybe, but marketing a product, like if I'm selling shoes or I'm selling a t-shirt or I'm selling NFT, what have you found be the biggest difference from your tangible product versus a digital product? Or is there not that much difference?
No, I mean, I do think there is a difference. I think the answer is like, we don't really know yet. Like we've been doing marketing for only so long,
right?
And we're learning every step of the way as far as like, okay, this resonated more with our with like fans. This resonated more with collectors. This may resonate more with investors. And like, I think for us, it's really kind of just seeing like, is it better when a player is the face of this? Is it better when the pack drops the face? Is it better? Like there's so much learning that we have to do. And our team, like we have our VP of growth, Jamie Parasini, who does an incredible job, like really trying to unearth some of these findings. And her team.
There's going to be books written about this 3-year stretch, right? And
yeah, I hope so. But like we're really so early as far as like understanding the audience and the opportunity here that like there's no playbook yet. Like we're getting better every day, but like there's still a lot of wood to chop here.
All right, 2 more questions for you. What's the number one thing you're most excited about over the next 3 years in this space?
Honestly, I think it's just like, oh man, there's so much, but I really think it's just like mainstream adoption, like of just like making this commonplace where it's like, you're at a sports bar or you're watching TV or whatever it is. And like, of course, like there's an NFT component to it. Of course, like your Top Shot moment is going to be part of whatever's happening in the NBA finals. Of course, like your Patrick Mahomes moment is going to be part of like your Arrowhead Stadium experience, because like why wouldn't it? It's like so native to fandom. And so that opportunity there I find to be incredibly exciting.
It's funny because I never articulated it this way, but it reminds me like starting STN, understand the social space like you and I did back in 2010, 2013. Fan blogs and forums were doing such a great job at getting fans what they wanted in terms of stats and conversation and dialogue and polls, and the teams weren't doing a good job at all there. And I remember back in 2013, like, why don't you just replicate what they're doing over here and do it with you own the audience? And it kind of feels similar where, we're in this space where it's like the opportunity is there. Look at all these other people that are succeeding.
I have no doubt that similar to we went through these waves where like, teams didn't have their own accounts, or they had, it was like a side job for their marketing interns or whatever it might've been.
Yeah.
But now it's a full department. Like every single sports league, every single sports team across the 4 major sports, across the WNBA, across whatever it might be, they're going to have, it's a matter of time before they have an NFT department. No doubt in my mind.
I love that. And then if one takeaway that a listener after listening to this podcast can take away, what do you want them to take away from this show or just the space in general?
I would just say like, look, just get smart, like get educated and just go have fun. Like it doesn't have to be super cost heavy to join. Like we have moments on our platform you can buy for $3-4. Like, but the education you get, like the kind of like understanding the technology better, understanding like your fandom better. Like
Again, it sounds so similar. Like just start a Twitter account, follow a couple people, tweet 100%. A couple things. You don't have to be a content creator. You don't have to be Shaq or Ashton Kutcher, but just, start checking it out, see what's trending. But it just feels so similar, man.
It's that go buy a pack, like feel that experience, feel that like your endorphins rush. Like if you pulled something great, like go sell it, go see, oh my God, I just made $11. All these things, like it's a really incredible experience. So like, I would just urge you to, if you're still wearing your floaties and like you're afraid to jump in the water, like just take them off and like, learn a little bit. Yeah. And I will say, not to suck up to the guest here, but Dapper Labs with the ability to use your credit card, like that's an easy way to get into it. I did the same thing. And then you can start your Ethereum and all your calculation, your gas prices. It really is a cool way to spend a few bucks to kind of get your feet wet in this space. So kudos to all you guys and your technology over there. I know it's
it was a lot of work. Well, Dave, as always, man, I always appreciate our talks. And again, congratulations on being in the Hall of Fame. That's big, big news, man.
Nah, I appreciate it, David. Thanks so much for reaching out. Always a pleasure, and I'm sure we'll be in touch.
All right, Dave. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Take care.
All right, there it was, Dave Feldman from Dapper Labs. Man, I learned a lot. I was asking some selfish questions there. I was also asking some rookie questions for those of you that don't know what the hell an NFT is or how to even get started, but some really good advice from somebody that, sinks his teeth into this space each and every day. And I love the self-awareness. Like, this is still a very new space. I can't tell you exactly how to market to an audience that wants to buy NFT video highlights for the NBA because we're still so early. And it makes so much sense, right? Like, I really do think books will be written about this time in history of when blockchain and Web 3.0 really started.
I really liked your question, too, of like, what is just the general elevator pitch? Because I can't imagine how many times a day, week, month, that guy gets asked, what the hell is an NFT?
Yes.
What do you do? So I think that.
And I love his advice, too. Like, even if you only have like $100, I did the same thing. My first ever, I bought $100 LeBron James bubble dunk on Top Shop. But before that, I tried, I converted my cash in the Ethereum and got a MetaMask and kind of, was able to kind of play around like anything else. Like I said later on in the show, it's just like, 2012. Just get a Twitter account, just get an Instagram, start posting. You don't have to be good at it. You don't have to have a ton of followers, but I highly recommend any marketer go buy yourself a $5 and $9 NFT, go buy a pack and just get an account. Get used to it so you can talk the language in these meetings coming up and you can be more first to market because I guarantee you will be blown away and left in the dust if you don't get a handle on this in the next couple of years.
I think that was a really important point that he made too, because a lot of people are like, oh, NFTs don't those cost like $25 million to buy? Like, oh, I see these big numbers. Like, no, you can get a pack for like under $10 and you never know what's going to be in it, but it's very, very consumer friendly.
And maybe like the crypto kitties or the Bored Ape, maybe you just don't understand, like, why am I paying this much money for a piece of art, even though people pay millions of dollars for Andy Warhol or what have you, or a Banksy, right? However, I think people understand, like, ooh, I can own that highlight. I can own that John Morant dunk. I can own that game winner. People understand that concept, I think. And if there's only 10,000 or 5,000 of that game winner forever for the rest of the time, you can be one of those 5,000. I think it clicks for people. So really the NBA, NFL all day, UFC, that's an easy way to get into it and I think comprehend it, where a lot of people get, caught up in the, can I just write, save, and click this GIF or this image, right?
Right. Yeah. You can take a picture of the Mona Lisa. It doesn't mean you own.
Yep. All right. So thanks so much to Dave Feldman. Thank you as always for listening. Feel free to rate us 5 stars on iTunes. Thanks to Dave Furker, producer Will. How about Art? Let's throw Art in there for all his work on as we move studios and we get fired up into our new building. But appreciate episode 84. This has been yet another edition of the Business of Social podcast. My name is David Brickley. It's all been powered by STN Digital.